Fast forward, any come our channel, so how age politics avenue. Podcast or set training because speaking headlines. And a jumbre now EDB exumo. Onya, yambo inra a year young simu. But an idiom and ED kayam. But many also between subscribe to the channel. The notification bell so share now of what council answer into me NKB. Now, a year Honorable Isaac Adongo. Papa a member of parliament. Emma a year Tamale Central. Onya o make expose bi abra ko pimu e wo Tamale ye FM so onua enye asem koto akra eno ene ya gembra ye di bi exumbo na wa kire se emre bi atwamu honorable o sei che Mensah Bonsu okoni mpesua so nenka omu ye ede omu nsa akeka na onua na enye asem koto akra na ne nyina na it was based on omukwan atetia pansama onua omu enye kwan no emfa emma kumasefo titru Suame Interchange no ene kwan a ewurawura potamu broni beka se auxiliary roads na parliament ehia no omu di Eurobond $200 million edi eco share project nim na omudi skano eco share project nim no omu edi skano na parliament ahomte se obia wo member of parliament penyimu eti say Mensah Bonsu several parliament very long time now o constituency o call ho na omo based on sa rules ni ade na omudi ahomte etwie sika ya at the end of the day no sika no so a omu edi omu amfanye adwuma no onua yemu nwura nseminim.
Yes. Do you know, let me tell you something. Ghanaians don't know. Suame Interchange. I was shocked that they had a press conference. They took part of our Eurobonds in 2020. $200 million of that money was approved by Parliament to be used to do the Suame Interchange and the ancillary roads.
$200 million.
I remember very well, Honorable Mensah Bonsu was sitting there and he was under siege from his constituency. In fact, one time he went to visit the site and they nearly lynched him. You remember that?
Yeah,
so we all were together and said that, look, we can't have our leader humiliated like that. So we would approve the $200 million. Go and do the Suame Interchange. They chop the money. Suame Interchange is still there, and they are holding press conferences about Suame Interchange. How shameful can they be? Two, Ofankor and Sawam Road, the same World Bank money. They took $200 million to do that project. They chopped the money, left the contractor. It took Honorable Abuja and Honorable Atoforsen to raise the money to give to them. Are they now not closer to completion? Where is the $200 million Eurobonds that they took to do those projects? So, but we are doing 60 billion. $200 million is about how much? That's about 2 billion. Plus 2 billion, 4 billion. They couldn't do it. We are doing 50 billion without borrowing from anybody. Does that tell you that we're
now yini free honso a yebi wuram ewo public account committee bra auditors general koye audit a holder of exposés aba abontia me no kasei public account committee no attract omo probe into the matter yen semre yembonwura committee nim nanso ye hwene yeko ene de eba
doing was just looking at the face value of the certificate. They are not engineers. So in actual fact, they are validating what is on the face of that. So the real auditors of roadworks has to come back to the agencies under the ministry, because they are the only ones who can tell when the person says, being paid, the contractor is being paid for sealing a road or patching a pothole. They are the only ones who can tell whether that activity has already taken place or not. So let's put in place a system which doesn't need me or anybody else to to validate whether this thing has been done or not. That is the only way out. From now, in fact, the last payment we did, I took all the directors, or some of the directors, to Ministry of Finance to ask. The Ministry of Finance was also there. But that is just a meeting. We don't even need to do that. That should have been an automatic system that when contractor A has been paid for doing X as part of his scope, that should be automatic for everybody to see, including the auditors. So the bottom line here is for us to build a fit for purpose. The existing gift mix have served a purpose. Indeed, it has improved. But things have moved on so much that we need a higher level of interface with that. You talk about this. What about the fact that some of the projects you are talking about here to be paid, there was no commitment authorization even for it? i.e., the Ministry of Finance wasn't even aware that we at the Ministry of Road were committing the state to that level of expenditure. And it's all over the place. Yet the Ministry of Finance gets a certificate. And sometimes a powerful contractor can go to, as His Excellency Mill said, with one front page of a certificate that this is how much they owe me. And in his word, somebody can make a phone call and say, pay this contractor. Auditors are not aware. Agencies under the ministry are not aware. Somehow, that person gets paid. Only one day for us to carry out this exercise, for somebody to know that that certificate has already been paid.
Minister, this is a structural problem. And that is why we also have professionals aside engineers. We have other professionals in the road ministry that are supposed to do their work. Aside the engineers, they are professionals, they are accountants, they are procurement officers. They are all the chain of professionals who are there. These certificates that you are talking about, the one-pager, certainly it comes from somebody from Roads and Highways, because they won't come and show something to a minister that is not from Roads and Highways. So aside us looking for better systems, improved systems, we, the human beings also, we need to check ourselves, change our attitude. Sometimes they tell you, but is this for your father or your mother? They do things anyhow. We all know it. And it's very, very easy to push it on the politicians. But then you have professionals in the ministry that are also supposed to discharge their mandate. So, Minister, in as much as we want to look for systems, we, the human beings, we, the citizens of this country, we should take, matters into our own hands. Wherever you are placed, it can't be quack, quack, quack. It can't be quick, 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 quick. Let's make money. Minister, are you aware that in certain places, some officers, when they are taking off their schedule, they'll go heaven and earth to make sure they are placed back in that schedule? You ask yourself, why? So, Minister, in as much as we want to do this, we also have to preach attitudinal change. The way we do our things, our responsibility to our nation. It is not just the politicians, it is all of us. It is all of us. This is a charge we have to keep as citizens if we want to make things better. Because I look at some of the things coming from the road ministry. They are human beings who do that. They are officers, professionals, for God's sake, professionals who compile these things, who know very well that the contractor there has not done the road to a standardized size. But then, what I will get from it, the cut I will be given, if I'm able to prepare this IPC and send to, not even to Ministry of Finance, to the next stage. So, Minister, it is bigger than just systems. We have to also start talking about attitudinal change. And that is why we engage ourselves here, because this is how we can help bring that awareness to all of us. We are all culprits.
Chair, I think you are very right. The purpose of this is to make sure we improve the systems. And you stopped at both just the contractor, the politicians and the other people. On many occasions, we've had situations where a road project has been done and it has failed within a very short period of time. There was even a third-party consultant paid fees 6%, 10%, but who certified that this project was done according to the scope and let pay. Guess what? I've never heard anybody ask, why is that consultant not in the dock? Because the first recommendation for that certificate to be paid must have come from him before it gets to the regional director of highways or urban road. As for the minister, you are the mercy of everybody. Because when I became a minister, they will tell you, what I get normally, a certificate is 1 page. Until I started asking, where is the contract? So today, when you are bringing me a certificate, you must bring me the entire contract, because I want to know what we are paying for. So, of course, but still, I'm not an engineer. So the point is, I agree with you, we should make the systems work. And engineers, of course, they're also human. Just the way that there can be a bad MP. Surely, I don't think the engineering field has got saints there. There could be even judges can have a bad judge, isn't it? But that is why we use technology to take out the human interference in things as much as possible. I believe if the give me system is such that every commitment of state, every agency only appears first on that system. If it's not on the system, you cannot even raise a certificate about it. If it's not on the system, even if a certificate is raised, there will be no interface for you to activate a payment. I believe that will be the basis of taking out all the challenges we have.
All right, thank you very much. Honorable Simon will handle the other infraction.
Thank you very much, Chairman. My question will be, what's the average time frame for vetting and approving IPCs at the ministry?
I would ask the Chief Director to respond to that.
Thank you very much, Chair. We actually planned for 21 to 28 days. 21 to 28 days. So we get a certificate from the region or from the consultant to the agency. The agency is supposed to work on that IPC for maximum 14 days. It comes to the ministry. We take about a week. That's 7 days, all things being equal. I'm saying 21 to 28 because there could be days that we need to go back to the site to check. And we have to make sure that whatever we are certifying at the ministry and pushing to the Ministry of Finance is very accurate. So we give the agencies 2 weeks, and then we give ourselves 7 days. What we have to go beyond that, we give us 28 days. Why? Because we are very careful of the timelines when it comes to the interest or delay payment, because it starts counting after 91 days. And we have to make sure that it leaves our desk quickly to the Ministry of Finance where payment is made. Why am I saying so? The date of the certificate where the interest or delay payment is reckoned is the date of the engineer, resident engineer or consultant, the date he signs. So we are very careful, we are mindful of the time frame, 21 to 28 days. Thank you very much.
I'm looking at the report, page 35. The auditors found that an amount of 722,623 Ghana cedis in claims was
Please get closer to the microphone.
Thank you. An amount of 722,623 in claims was not supported because there was a delay in approving IPCs. And I don't know how you speak to that. Can you answer to that for me? A delay in IPCs, and yet it went through. It says that it went through and was approved, and yet there was a delay.
Chair, is this supposed to be an interest on delay payment certificate, because the way it's written, it's interest on delay
Yes,
payment.
yeah, interest on delayed payments.
Okay, so this one is a national problem. Surely we overcommit as a ministry. When you take the 2025 budget, everybody knows, including members of parliament, knows what we have approved for the ministry. But I am sure almost everybody around the table who is an MP, whose road is not being fixed, is expecting that we will start tomorrow. But nobody ever asks, how will it be paid for if we send contractors to site? In fact, many of you even say that go to the site tomorrow. Well, from now, you need 1 year for full competitive bidding for that. So it is a general problem. So contractors work and raise certificates, and unfortunately, they are not paid for years. And there are parts of the contract which says we pay them interest on delayed payment. My argument with my engineers have always been that why is it that the calculation of interest on delayed payment starts when the engineer at the region signs a certificate? Why is it not that when I approve the certificate? Because if it's the case that once the engineer signs, the certificate takes effect, then why are you coming to me? Because you are coming to me, or you are coming to the national office and coming to the minister because you thought there could be, you need my authorization. So that regulation, I said we will change that regulation. It shouldn't be that when the regional director signs a certificate, the contractor can start counting the interest on delayed payment from that day. It should be when the ministry finally authorizes. It's an anomaly in the system, because as the chief director already said, we're giving ourselves 21 days to complete. The regional director has already signed. What if I am unable to sign within that period? The contractor can still start counting interest on delay payment. So we need to take a look at that. The intention is not to make the contractor worse off, but we need equity, some balance. Of course, when contractors borrow money from the bank using their houses as collateral and go and use it to fix my road or your road, we are not expecting them to take a hit if there's delays in payment. But we need to have some level of understanding that doesn't make, in fact, until recently, until the tail end of the last administration, interest was even compounding. So you could see a certificate raised for 2 million. In a few years' time, it's 6 million. 6 million.
But Honorable Minister, the law is the law, and it's the law. If you want any amendment to it, you know what to do. So let's do that.
My next question will be BTS to the tune of 275,293 went through. I mean, there were BTS raised for payments, and yet there were no supporting documents for that. How do you answer to that, please?
I know during the special audit, people were asked to, because the auditors were presented with a set of information based on different contracts and other things, and they couldn't trace essential documents relating to some of them. Some could be contracts, some could be missing, let's say, 5 certificates added up to 20 million. And then the auditors saw 20 million, but they could only see 10 million cedis worth of certificates. They may require either the agency or the contractor to supply the rest of the certificate. And I know that in some cases, when they cannot find the additional document, what they did was to certify the amount whose documentation they can find and leave the rest. And sometimes the people don't come back. What does that mean? Does that mean that if the auditor didn't raise that, that was going to be a waste of money? I don't know, but I know that even this one, the auditors found it difficult to do. But even with this, even after this audit, we found out that there's a lot we can do to make the system even better.
we and some who team course or channel so mam and what so jemre or ha say that's in it so bad in their dumbi edomiania onia yebeseng eshia